I even had a couple that came on one of my very first ones and had such a great time with them that they hired me to shoot their wedding. So I flew to Vermont to shoot their wedding. And then they came back to Nashville to announce that they were having their second baby, and she announced it to him on the PhotoWalk tour.
No way.
Yeah.
What's up, everybody? We're here with PhotoWalk Nashville. Christy, the owner, has an awesome story to tell, so let's go hear it.
Christy, thanks for having me.
Hey, Mike.
You're on the Business of Partying show. Let's start with Christy the Connector when we talk about your story. So, what is Christy the Connector?
Well,
your personal brand.
Yeah, I've always felt like I like connecting people to other people, to places, to things that I love. It's just who I am. It just flows really naturally or organically out of me. And so that title came around a couple years ago. It was just like, oh, that's kind of my new name and what I can be known as, because that's just really embodies who I am.
Are you from Nashville?
Yes, somewhat. So I was, my dad retired in the military at Fort Campbell, Kentucky when I was 12. And so that's just 30 minutes from here. And so I would come to Nashville as a young girl. I remember my grandpa taking me down to Opryland, USA and to Cracker Barrel and going down Broadway. And so I have like a lot of core memories as a young girl here. And even before that, we'd come and visit and do vacations. So yeah, Nashville's always been home. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and we were just talking, like, your love for it is like starts with music. Would you say it's rooted in music?
Definitely rooted.
Like, why do you love this city so much?
Yeah, I mean, I come from a musical family too, and so music's just always been intertwined in the fabric of my life. And so Nashville being such a huge place to see live music, I have so many memories of going to see shows, and so now I can share that with my kids, and I can take them to go to the Grand Ole Opry and hear Little Big Town, or just be able to see at these massive stadiums now shows, or go to intimate spaces too. And so I think the music being such a big part of my life, and this being Music City, USA, is just, it all comes together in what I can bring people to, and like what I think is so special about this city that I want to show the world. It's a part of me, but also once I found photography, that was just another natural expression of how I could release my creativity.
Right.
And I grew up, in the 90s looking at books and movies of like real just artistic photos, and I always just had a real curiosity about what goes on behind the scenes to make that photo or to make that video. And so that's where my love for photography kind of came in. And after I had 4 kids, and after my last kid, I picked up a DSLR camera and taught myself how to shoot. All right, so Mike, arms up, and you gotta say Nashville. There we go.
Nashville!
That was awesome.
Stupid. Okay, so you're an entrepreneur, you are a Nashville celebrity, and you have 4 children.
Yes.
Wow.
There's 4.
Wow. So in terms of the business lines of Christy, the Connector, you have Nashville Mural Tours, and you have Go to Nashville.
Right, yeah, we have PhotoWalk Nashville and then Go to Nashville.
Right.
And PhotoWalk came out of, after I picked up the camera, I started shooting working with a lot of artists in fashion, and realized, my love for fashion and music, that was just a natural outlet, was to be able to work in photography in that. And so I would be out in these neighborhoods, like working with a client, having fun. But then I started seeing this neighborhood over here called the Gulch start changing, and all these murals started appearing, and then that brought people in. And as the neighborhood was getting revitalized, then people were coming there as a tourist destination, and that was just happening right in front of my eyes. And so as that was happening, I realized that these people wanted someone to take their photo, but there was no one to do that. And when I go on vacation, it's like, well, who's going to take your picture for you? You don't want to just hand your phone to a stranger. So I had the idea of, what if I took their pictures for them? I'm a good photographer, and I know all the spots. I don't like to see people lost. I want to see them connected.
Right.
So that's
what
how
year
PhotoWalk.
was this, though, when you saw this uprise of Murals in the Gulch?
That was in 2018 was when PhotoWalk Nashville began. And so I started seeing all that happen and then began to just start make connections with all the businesses in those neighborhoods, doing a photo shoot tour, combining the elements of taking people's pictures, but then also giving them a fun insider tour, not so much historical, but just like where to eat, where to shop, hang out.
That's a pretty cool way to make a business from your passion, right?
Yeah.
And then Airbnb experiences, platforms like Batch too, and you're just like, okay, great. This like gives me an outlet to like express myself creatively and make a business out of it.
Exactly. And the Batch came into my life not that long after that, really at the beginning of PhotoWalk, and has just been such a great partner from the get-go. And to be able to grow, you know, with the partnerships like this has been so great. And it also opened up a world to me of the travel industry and being able to go to, you know, conferences and connect with other tour operators and other folks, you know, companies that are just launching amazing companies like the Batch that are helping people plan their trip and giving them unique experiences. That's what's important to me.
Yeah, and you're kind of like you kind of spearhead the charge on providing a good experience for people and like being a content creator too, because whenever I look at the conferences and the tours and attractions or experiences space, I often see your name as a speaker. So
I like to talk
so
about
like tell us some of the key points or learnings that come out of those speaking engagements.
Well, I think that when people come to Nashville, they want to have a unique experience because there is the element of music and visuals and food. And so that to me just became a passion that I want to be able to offer people unique experiences that they remember.
Right.
You know, a lot of things are geared toward, you know, drinking and partying and having fun, and that's all great. But also, like, I want to be the part or provide the part that you really remember and can go back and look at and pull those pictures from and be like, you know, this might have been the one trip that I got to go on with my whole friend group, you know, or as a couple. Maybe that's the last trip you got to go on together. And so providing and being and creating unique experiences is what my passion is.
Right. And same with us at Batch, because like life is short.
Yeah.
You know, you get the friends together, go on a trip, you have a finite amount of time and money to spend. You want to do it right, you know, and we try to connect the dots with people like yourself who are going to provide a great experience, because it's like, okay, cool. They have a certain window of time and money that they're like, all right, we're going to do this.
Right.
And we're going to have an amazing time, you know, and in your experience, you actually capture those moments, which is really cool. So if I'm breaking down the business for a second, you started by you're like, okay, great. There are murals in the Gulch and there are platforms I can promote this business, like Airbnb experiences at the time, pre-Batch. And you didn't even really feel like you needed to invest that heavily in social media, even though now you definitely know what you're doing with social. It just wasn't like a primary focus at the time.
Right.
So you're just focused on providing a great experience for people because you had a lot of demand.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. And I think that has a lot to do with our success is because we were able to really hone in on the experience, on the product, to even break down the different experiences. When we first launched, it was just kind of a one-stop shop. And then the Bachelorette scene started hitting and they were wanting their own. And so I realized, let me make a specific experience just for them. And that's how we first started with you guys. And so then we made a couples one. Then we made a photo walk the dog experience.
And you're literally just making this stuff up. We're
making it up.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But based on demand, and then the reviews started coming in and people were like, this was better than I thought it would even be. And for us, the best reviews are the ones where people say, Christy made me feel special. Christy made me feel like I was at home in Nashville. Like we were more than just providing a service, we're providing an experience.
Right.
And being like a real person, a real individual and representation for the rest of our city.
Right.
And we want people.
And you're leading these walks.
Yeah, we're leading them. Yeah. Now we've got a team, so our whole team is interchangeable. We've got an awesome group.
Yeah. Right. Right. Because you're instilling that culture.
We're instilling the culture, exactly. Yeah, and we want each of our photographers to still share their own unique experiences, but we know that everybody's giving a similar, you know, of the quality of the experience, the quality of the photos, because you're getting professional pictures.
Right.
one of the girls on our team, she did a shoot for People magazine here recently. So, we've got real photographers that, we're not just grabbing somebody with an iPhone and putting them in front.
Well, speaking of, what did you need to start this business?
I just needed what was already in my hand.
That's
and
crazy.
So I feel like, too, that's what I can say to the world is like, you don't have to feel like your dream is so far out there. Like, look what's in your hand, look what's right in front of you to do, and start there. And that's where it all happened. I already had a camera, and that's really all I needed. I realized that I could show up with a camera and a memory card and a smile on my face and be who I am.
Yep.
And spend an hour with these folks and have the best time and make long-lasting friends.
Right.
I even had a couple that came on one of my very first ones and had such a great time with them that they hired me to shoot their wedding. So I flew to Vermont to shoot their wedding. And then they came back to Nashville to announce that they were having their second baby, and she announced it to him on the PhotoWalk tour.
way.
Yeah. So I've been able to be like a part of their little family. And so that's
Damn.
so special to me that those relationships have lasted like that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, and we've had over like 10,000 people come through and do
Oh my
do
God.
PhotoWalk. Yeah, so it's a lot of folks. But so many I can remember vividly, or they'll still keep in touch with me on social media.
What's
so.
the breakdown customer type? Well, I'm thinking about this 10,000 number. That's a big number.
Yeah, for sure. Mostly girls groups at first, but
Yep.
then we started getting into couples and corporate groups and families.
Right.
And that's something too that we want to offer is 21 and under. Nashville is a little bit of a smaller market because Nashville does have such a heavy bar scene. And so we wanted to be able to offer something that, a 13-year-old girl can do with her friends or that a family can do together. So it really is for everybody. When people ask about my demographic and trying to figure out launch and marketing strategies is a little bit difficult because everybody is our demographic. It's for everyone. Of course, females, between the ages of like 18 to 35 are our largest because that's the demographic that just likes to have their picture taken the most, I think. But for the most part, we've been able to shift that and make it accessible to anybody and everybody.
Right. It's crazy to me that, okay, so, because the story that I'm like extracting for anybody that wants to be an entrepreneur is like, it doesn't seem like it was incredibly capital intensive.
No.
Like you're like a camera, a smile on my face,
Yeah.
personality, great product experience to people.
Yeah.
Nashville does have the demand. So like the lesson there is just like you are playing in a market that could get crowded, could get competitive, but it has its upside of like a lot of people are constantly coming to this place.
Right.
Right? And there's so much to speak for how great it is, right? Where you feel like the party's going to keep going, where you're like, I think this can be around for a long time. People are going to want to continue to come to the city.
Yes.
So it's interesting because it helps you focus on doing what you're really good at, which is like providing great experience to all the people that are your customers.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's like the beauty of why we love the partnership at Batch, because it just takes the stress off our back to be like, we know that they're going to have an amazing time, right? And yeah, that's been something that I've like a recurring theme over talking to a lot of our Nashville partners like yourself. A lot of birthday parties came out of the works this year. And this was partially because we opened up our brand. We were opening up towards all sorts of parties that want to have a good time, can use our app.
Right.
But like birthday parties travel. And we used to think it was 30 and 40-year-old birthday party, like the milestone ones. Not necessarily.
No.
Nashville's just an easy place to get to.
It absolutely is.
It's just so easy to get to, where we just saw a large adoption of birthday parties to the city too, which speaks to just like, this is a city for everyone, just like your experience. Like anybody can go here. My uncle and aunt love it. They're in their 50s. I love it. I'm in my 30s, you know? And I think that speaks to the city, but also the experience that you offer.
And there's just such a growing trend of that, like you said, the birthday parties where people want to make it the next level birthday party. It's not like just, hey, let's go out to dinner. It's let's plan a whole day. Let's go on a trip.
Yep.
And with Nashville being so central, like you were saying, and I travel a lot, Mike, and I still think Nashville's the best city. Like, it's just the best.
Yeah.
It's not too spread out. It's not too small. It's not too big. It's just enough. you know, and compared to New York, like where there's so many options of things to do. New York is amazing, but Nashville does have so many things to do that is somewhat a little more accessible, and you can get the same quality of and diversity of restaurants, of places to go, things to eat.
Totally. It's crazy to me that Nashville is our #1 city on Batch. It was the first city that we built.
Yeah.
And then you have Scottsdale like having ridiculous year-over-year growth. A lot of Florida markets, California markets have done really, really well this year. But Nashville is still growing, and it's still #1. It's the craziest thing. I don't think anything's slowing down.
I don't think so either, Mike. I think we're just
so I do think you live
growing.
in the best city. I'm jealous. So. Batch has been a booking partner for you. You were one of our very early partners. If I had to guess, literally probably first 5.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it's been additive and helps grow your business. And I also feel like we're a testing grounds for you to just try new stuff too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've tried, and that's what's so cool about knowing the people that you're partners and knowing like on a personal basis. You know, I mean, Madison and I have each other's phone numbers.
Yeah.
You know, I can contact her and really be like specific and go, you know what, let's try this. Let's shift this pricing here. Let's add this on. And so really working hand in hand, it's made me feel like I'm not a lone ranger. I'm not out here.
Right.
Having been, you know, sharing with you, I came out of being a full-time mom to starting a photography business, and that was my only business training. I never went to college. I don't have any business background. So to be able to grow and start a business from scratch has been really because of my own research, but also the conversations and the partnerships with folks that have been able to, you know, teach me what they know and have been able to like have the space to try things, see what works, see what doesn't work. Like if something isn't growing, then let's try something else. Let's shift it. Once you know what does work, then stick with that and then try different things around it to like supplement it.
Yeah, that's another theme. I mean, first off, hell yeah.
Oh yeah.
Love that. That's a recurring theme with our Nashville partners. Nashville's like our testing ground.
Yeah.
It's like the #1
Yeah.
place. It's like the center of the universe
Right.
for Batch. And the other thing about like being a partner and a human, you know, is something that we take seriously and is just like levering up our partnership support. So over the past like 2 months, mentioned we have a lot of new hires coming into Batch. The whole point is we win when you win. Both businesses grow when yours is growing, right? So the whole point is if you can have basically 24/7 support to figure out what are we testing, where are we launching, you know, what new products can I bring in the marketplace? You know, that's what we want to do and ultimately like help you continue to expand. So that's like where we're doubling down as a company with more marketing support. But I really think there's so much potential because of what we've learned in Nashville from our partners that have been with us for a long time that like you just got to test stuff, see what works and have a strong relationship to keep iterating to be successful.
Well, and also y'all have been so open with numbers, with market research.
Yeah.
You know, there's not this like iron curtain of, you know, we're not going to show you this. It's all behind like the Wizard of Oz thing. It's like, no, here's what's working in these other cities. Y'all are so like generous with that information because you see the bigger picture. Like when we all win, you know, when these experiences get booked and when we find something that is easy to book or when there's that one little extra thing that makes it the sweet spot and sells it, then we all are doing well, you know, and so I really appreciate that we've had those conversations with y'all where we can just sit down and on Zoom calls, even through COVID, you know, we sat down and really like laid it out and you were able to show us, hey, these are the numbers from last year. This is what's working in this market. And so we've been able to really fine tune with y'all.
There's more where that came from. Like a large number of parties that go to Nashville every year. There's a lot to learn. Like, what are they talking about in their chat? Like, where are they, what is their flight route information? What are they adding to their itinerary? What are they expense splitting? And all of that is going to be useful information to you. So that's what's next on the docket.
At this point, we want it to be about us. Like when our clients, when our guests are reaching out to us, then it's someone from our team, and it's a very much a human connection from the start, from the get-go, from the time they see the pictures to the time they receive their pictures after. We want them to feel connected, to feel like they were a part of something, to feel like the booking flow was easy,
Right.
you know, that it wasn't this big, like, confusion, stressful thing to book
Right. Totally.
at all. It was
Totally.
like, wow, that was it. That was easy.
Right.
Okay. And we show up, all the information's there. I know where to be. I know what to wear. It's all done for me. So.
Right.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
when you travel, like, there's so much stress already on you of, like, getting to the place. And so the things that you're doing, your activities, should be pretty seamless, should be flawless, and you should feel welcomed at them.
You don't want to worry about anything but having a good time with your friends.
Having a good time, yeah. So let that be on, like, that's what we do, is make it easy, make it fun for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's a good note to end on.
Yeah.
Look, you have an incredible story. I think some of the stuff that surfaced from the conversation were, again, just about like, you're playing in a space that has a lot of demand in a wonderful city that has continued to grow. So it's allowed you to focus on building an excellent product to your customer base, you know, and build a fun brand around it too in the meantime. So I think it's an awesome lesson for anybody who wants to be an entrepreneur and a future partner on Batch. So
Yeah.
thanks for hanging.
Thank you for having me, Mike. Yeah, this was fun.
All right, Christy.